Good afternoon. I want to welcome the viewing audience to the semi-monthly or bi-monthly, I think, meeting of the Neighborhood Improvement Services Advisory Committee. I am presiding over the meeting at this point in the absence of our chair and vice chair. And since we don't have a quorum for this evening, we'll be going through information only, although we did not have any action items for the evening, so we were going to just exchanging information and so on. I'll go ahead and give the invocation if you all bow your heads. Our Father and our God, we thank you so much for allowing us to come together once again to do the business for the City of Jacksonville Advisory Committee. We hope that everything that we do and that we say will be pleasing in your sight. We are here to convene to let the citizens know what we're trying to do to improve services and neighborhoods in the City of Jacksonville. And we encourage them to listen and to take advantage of the programs that we have to offer here in the City of Jacksonville for neighbors and neighborhoods all over the city. These things and all else we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I think we should do introductions since we have a couple of new people here, or at least one. I am a charter member of the organization here. I've been on since 1987. And so that's been a while, but I enjoy serving on this particular committee. And so my name is Marcia Wright. And so I'll take it to you and we'll go around the table.
Brian Jackson, City Council Liaison.
I'm Jane Sutton, the new member of this board, and I will say I'm glad to be here. I hope I can bring some good information, and I hope that I can learn a lot from being on this board. And I thank councilmen, the city council, and staff here for approving for me to be on this board. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Tracy Jackson, Director of Neighborhood Improvement Services. I am the staff liaison.
Good evening, I'm Pamela Trafton, Senior Neighborhood Improvement Services Coordinator.
I'm Jerry March, member.
Lynn Harvey, member.
All right, and we have one guest with us this evening.
Jesse Hansen, glad to be here.
So we're glad that you are here as well. We'll go on to, let's see, can we have a planning board update? We don't have to take action on that, but before
No, I can give you a little update.
Well, before we do that,
Yes.
let's go through. Without a quorum, we'll table approval of minutes.
Well, we have a quorum now. One,
Hold
two.
tight.
3, 4.
Yeah, so once you get situated, we'll come back and approve.
Okay,
Here.
so we'll go back to.
We
Bear with
do.
us for a moment.
Good afternoon.
We do want to bring remembrance, and it is placed on your agenda as well. On the bottom of it, you'll see our mission statement. That neighborhood.
Read it out, Steve.
Yes. So the mission is Neighborhood Improvement Services, formerly community engagement, focuses on department actions necessary to improve all neighborhoods of the city. Furthermore, Neighborhood Improvement Services connects Jacksonville's diverse neighborhoods with their city government and facilitate effective public participation, enhance economic opportunity, and implement community-based strategies to improve the quality of life for our citizens. So everything that we do and moving forward, when it comes to how can we move the advisory committee forward, how can we move our city forward, how can we move our department forward, is making sure that we keep our mission in the forefront. Different projects that we're looking at, how are we being effective with public participation, how are we looking at economic opportunities, and what are community-based strategies. Projects that we've done in the past or ways that we've engaged in the community definitely give us real-time feedback. Are you hearing from the citizens? Are you hearing from your neighbors of what works? How have outreach worked for them that we may need to incorporate? Anything that allows us to just continue to push forward. All right?
All right. Now, well, we do have a quorum, so I will go back to the beginning of the agenda and call the meeting officially to order at 12 after 5:12 p.m., April 28th, 2025. We've had our invocation and our welcome introductions. So I will ask for a motion to adopt the agenda as written. If there's anything to add or take away.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as written.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we adopt the agenda for the evening. Any discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Next, we have approval of the minutes. We had the minutes, I think, did we have those shared with us?
Now, at this time, we'll table the minutes for the
Table the
next
minutes.
meeting.
All right.
Yeah.
So those will be tabled until the June meeting.
To the fourth Monday in June.
So the fourth Monday in June?
Okay.
23rd.
Next, we have Jerry March is going to give us an update from the planning board.
Yes, I missed the April meeting a couple weeks ago out of town, but the March meeting, we had two variances for storage units. One was a new one, and one was a addition to an existing one. Just the way the code is written, they always have to come before the board, and we had put the blessing to move it on to council for their approval.
Any questions for that? And that's for information only. Next, we will have reports from Pam Trafton on livable neighborhoods.
All right, good evening, good evening. Madam Chair, if you don't mind, if I go through the upcoming ones as they're all lumped together?
Yes.
Okay. So with livable neighborhoods, I want to bring to your attention, Wednesday, May 21st is our nonprofit executive roundtable. This is the first one for the year. We are inviting Onslow Public Library to come out and give our nonprofit executive directors and board members a train the trainer on learning how to seek grant funding opportunities for the nonprofits, being able to identify potential funders that they can seek all at the hands of the library system. Our roundtable sessions take place at Coastal Carolina Community College in the Small Business Center in rooms 104, A, B, and C. And you can register now at jacksonvillenc.gov/nonprofit. For our community development updates, this is a reminder that we have 112 Cox Avenue available for sale. We did a open house, which we'll talk about later. This one is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $193,250. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, split floor plan. For those who are unable to attend the open house, when you walk through the home, your living area is on the right-hand side of the home. So you have living room, dining room, kitchen on the right side. And then on the left side are your bedrooms, with bedrooms 2 and 3 at the front of the home. And in the back corner is your master bedroom with the master closet, which would be considered bedroom number 4.
It's large enough.
But that's just, it's a great closet that we like to highlight.
That's a big closet.
So the requirements to be able to purchase a home with the city of Jacksonville is attending our homebuyer education courses, our money management classes, and attending housing counseling services with myself or Ms. Tracy, and also income qualifications. If you have any questions or anyone is interested, call us at 910-938-5286. Also in our home ownership realm, we have 408 and 410 Ann Street, which is currently undergoing construction. Both of these lots are downtown Jacksonville. Ann Street is directly beside the Infinite Prague High School for a landmark location. And from the front porch, you can see the courthouse. So that way you'll have an idea of where the location of the homes are. They are the same floor plan. To your right, you'll see what the finished product will look like. Not the exact same colors, but the floor plan itself. So the houses are the exact same, but they will have their aesthetics will be different. 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. This floor plan is split again with the master bedroom in the back corner, and bedrooms 2 and 3 are on the right-hand side of the home. And we're looking at our homebuyer education course. We do have a class this Saturday. It's May 3rd. It's $25 per person. One of the requirements, again, to be able to purchase a home within the city of Jacksonville. All classes are on Saturdays from 8 to 5. And they take place at the Jacksonville station, which is located at 1300 North Marine Boulevard. To register, you would call us at 910-938-5286, and you can pay the $25 either over the phone, or you can come in person and make payment. Our money management seminar is the second required class that we ask our potential homeowners to attend. We have one scheduled the end of this month, end of the upcoming month, May 31st. They are from 9 to 1. From 9 to 12, we have a credit financial coach that will go through credit basics, budget basics, and understanding your finances. And then from 12 to 1 p.m., we have established a partnership with Marine Federal, and they will go through investment options that are available for the attendees to understand investments better. All right. Any questions so far?
I don't have a question, but I certainly would make, for the listening audience, anyone who's interested in that should really come. Whether you're really interested right now in owning a home or trying to own a home. That one, I have been to a number of them that you all have done over the years. But this one was particularly good to me, the one that we did the last time, and I think the same young lady is coming to do the program. And it's just an excellent way of looking at what you think you know about your finances, what you need to know about them, what you can learn about them, whether or not you're looking at home ownership, because that's one thing about them being separated. But it was just really an excellent presentation, so I advise, and that one is free, the money management. So I would certainly tell the listening audience, if you have any questions or you think you know something, or you have an insurance person and you listen to them and you don't know what they're talking about, or you go to the bank and you don't know what they're talking about, this is a program I highly recommend to anyone. Young, old, doesn't matter. You could have been around for a long time, been around for a few years. You need to take that course. And I think it would be very, very valuable to anyone who's interested.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the houses on Ann Street, have
Yes,
you
ma'am.
established a price for those yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Once we go through and see what our total bill is, then we'll be able to establish the full price. And then we'll start advertising that one as well.
Do you have any idea of timeline of when they'll be ready?
We are looking at hopefully June latest. Because we are moving forth, rocking and rolling. So,
They're coming along nicely.
yes, as long as we don't have any weather. You know, April showers bring May flowers. So, but yes, by June at the latest, we should be turnkey ready. All right, so upcoming with our neighborhood initiatives and community development, these are updates from our February meeting. When we met in February, we were just preparing to have our Harmony Grant applications turned in. And since then, we have awarded 2 schools, 2 applicants rather, that happen to be schools. The first one was White Oak High School. They received a $450 grant to continue to further their apiculture and anthropology program, which is tied to the bee program, where they are one of few high schools that have a bee apiary program. And their apiary program was actually established with Harmony Grant Assistance Funds over the past 16 years since we've been in assistance. And the purpose that they use with their bee program is to educate elementary students on the importance of bees, and they've actually have included some international education as well, where they partnered with other schools. And so the $450 allows them to continue to get resources that they'll need to keep the program moving forward.
I have something to add to that too. We have a beekeeper that is on the back of our property over at First Baptist Church. They might go visit that one too, because he makes honey and give it to us every time they need it. So they could go over, I didn't know them other bee programs were here.
So
He's been there a long time.
And what I'm
So
understanding.
we don't even have to buy honey.
Our bee programs, I mean, in Onslow County are kind of like national renowned too.
Yes, in Richland, I do know because I bought some from a man out there. He has his bee. But this one here, we don't pay for the honey because he just harvested. And we let him use that four corner over there. Back there all the time. Been there about 20 years.
yeah,
That's nice to hear. That's a good I did not know we had, especially
I didn't even for the school.
through the schools, that's
a good
important,
idea.
because anytime I see people swatting or spraying,
I'll bring you some honey.
I just want to say, stop.
You honey.
Because, if it weren't for bees, we wouldn't have food. So, I mean, period. So, kids need to know that, grown people need to know it, and stop spraying, just,
Yeah.
move out of the way. They don't want to bother you, they just, leave them alone, and everybody be happy.
our next grant recipient was Northside High School,
Northside.
who received a $700 grant for their student-to-student care packages. And the purpose for their care package was to identify the homeless veterans. So they were going to partner with one of the veteran agencies here that go out and actually provide the care packages to the veterans as they come across them in the different homeless camps that they may come across.
Okay, get in touch with them.
And so with the $700, that was to assist in getting the supplies needed for the care packages. And just as a reminder, our Harmony program is a branch of the Jacksonville Youth Council, where it is all high school students learning the importance of philanthropy and how to give time, talent, and treasures. And they pass it down to the other teen organizations, because youth organizations are the ones that apply for the grant, and they are the ones that have to speak for the program, speak for their application, and it takes the advisor to have a backseat to really make sure that it is student-led, with the advisors just giving them inputs here and there.
That's a good idea.
All right, also for an update, we had our teen volunteer job fair that took place on March 22nd. And here you'll see where the Jacksonville Youth Council was set up with the registration and opportunity for other teens to come in. This gives you a snapshot. We was at the Onslow County Soup Kitchen, where we had volunteer agencies, nonprofits, and we had employers available to take applications. We have Ms. LaShawn that was doing our initial check-in. And then again, opportunity to see our employers and nonprofit agencies, speaking to those in existence. We had approximately 100 people in attendance, with 70 of them being teens from 14 to 18. And our youth council meets on the first Wednesday, so we have our next meeting next Wednesday at 6 p.m. here at City Hall. And it is open to 8th through 12th grade students. All right. And lastly, with neighborhood initiatives, our Community Development Week celebration. So we just celebrated 51 years for our National Community Development Week. We did with a wreath presentation, and we had open house at 112 Cox Avenue. Here you'll see our new homeowner receiving her wreath with advisory committee members, Councilman Jackson, staff, and city manager, Mr. Ray. So we have a few pictures from the event.
I take up food.
Our chairperson, Ms. Paula. And then we ended our community development week with our appreciation lunch drive-through for our city employees, because we recognize that everything that we do within community development shows a true community effort within the city with the various departments. And so pictured here, we have staff with our advisory committee and Councilman Warden. We have advisory saying thank you. Mhm. These were our cooks for the day, and we couldn't get it done without them. You have any updates? All right. Madam Chair?
So you covered our neighborhood initiatives. Any questions for Ms. Trafton about those programs?
I was gonna ask her, did she have any demolitions going on?
So right now, we do have one that's in the pipeline to get started.
Okay.
Once that one goes underway and complete, we'll be able to take that forth.
I can check that off there.
Okay. And then looking at here for our annual action plan, we are currently in a waiting period between what's taking place on a national level from grant funding and waiting for allocation amounts. We have until June at the latest that we need to receive an allocation amount to go forth and be able to meet HUD's statute deadline of August 16th. So keep fingers and toes crossed that everybody works together to get us a grant allocation.
In other words, we will not be able to submit an annual action plan without that allocation from HUD. So usually we get that in February. We work on the plan and we get the plan submitted at least by May 15th. The last several years, we've had a delay, and that has resulted in completing our action plan in June. So hopefully we will, as Pam indicated, have all of that done by the second council meeting in June, so that we can be on time regulatorily when it comes to submitting our annual action plans to HUD.
I don't know if there's anything, Councilman, have you all been affected by other programs and so on? Because I'm wondering, if there's any action that could be taken by the city management or whoever to find out
I know,
what's going on.
I think Mr. Ray had mentioned about 60-something grants that's kind of being held up. I mean, the best you can do is actually talk to your representatives, all the way up to the federal level. That's where the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest thing right there. It's like everybody's being affected by that right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully it gets straightened out.
Any other questions for the staff? Well, then we'll turn over and go to one city, our city, my city moments. She's talked about some of the things that have gone on, so you've had a nice coverage about, what you all have been doing around the community and what we are seeing, because, people are driving around, so they're seeing some housing going up and so on. And
We do have one formally, but just wanted to see if there was anything that you have noticed within the community that you want to bring acknowledgement to as well. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. There are a few issues with some of the streets here, and there's a few issues with the street signs. It is difficult for the children to even cross the street, and it's impossible for the people who are in wheelchairs to get around in the city because there's potholes and there's street signs that they have not addressed yet. So I'll give you an example. Once you leave out of this parking lot right here, there's no street sign across the street. And if you are in a wheelchair, there is no other half of the sidewalk. There's only one way in this parking lot here. Now, as far as the biking trail, they have sign out for bike trails, but the bike trails are not complete, and neither are the walking trails. So the walking trails also have to be complete. The mile markers, and there's a lot of potholes in a lot of these let's say even with coming through the downtown here, there's a lot of potholes that needs to be filled. If you don't have good tires, let's say it's a rainy day, anything could happen if they don't get it fixed. Now, I've been using public transportation since I've been here. I got back here on April the 4th. Since I've been here, I've been using public transportation. So I recognize that they're increasing the routes, they're making more routes. But I asked once, I got on the bus, I said, how are they gonna, for the people who are in wheelchairs and trying to get around, and for the seniors who are trying to get out and about during the day, how are they gonna help them to get certain things and get to where they need to be? They said they have buses for that. They have programs that they have signed up for specifically for that. I said, well, what are you guys going to do for them for this upcoming day? Like, we have Mother's Day coming up. We have Father's Day coming up. Shouldn't they have something special planned for them on those particular days?
So it sounds as though transportation needs to address some of your concerns. And we have
Not the transportation. Public safety. It's the safety of the public.
Okay.
If the children can't cross the street, if the people in wheelchairs can't get across the way, if the street signs are not fixed properly, if you can't press the sign to get across the street, this is even at the community college here.
Yeah, this is.
It's all transportation.
It is handled in our transportation department. So all of the cutouts that you're talking about as far as wheelchair, ADA accessible, our transportation department. And I can, after the meeting today, I can give you that person's phone number. The director is Anthony Prince, and he will be glad to get back and answer some of your concerns.
Because in some cases, you might be dealing with the city of Jacksonville streets. In other cases, it might be Department of Transportation streets.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, when you brought up potholes, I was going to say there is a report a pothole link that goes directly to our streets department. That's on the website as well, so we can get that website to you directly, because what they'll need for the potholes is where is it located, so they can identify it, and then they'll go ahead and see if it's one that's already to be addressed or if they need to be addressed.
So they have some scheduled to be addressed.
But we'll definitely get that information for you too.
Plus side, I know a gentleman in our neighborhood, wheelchair bound, and the bus stop was like 20 feet into a grassed area for where the sidewalk stopped. They said something to the city came out, extended the sidewalk to the platform where he would board the bus. So they will address specific situations.
Yeah, but that's the same way for the potholes when you're driving. You never know which way your tires could go when you're driving, and when we have the way the weather is here in North Carolina, when it rains, it really rains here.
When it rains.
Yeah. So it's a bit different from me traveling from other places. I recognized that last week. I thought it was just going to be a drizzle, and it was totally surprising for me. So I say once driving on these streets here in the Carolinas is although the streets have changed, because when I first came here a while back, it was nothing but rocks and dirt roads. So now the streets are different, but as far as different places of parking, even in the Walmart Plaza, the parking plaza, You know, when you go, in the plaza where the Walmart is, you know, where the shopping centers are? Well, they still don't have a sign that says walking for pedestrians for the people to walk. You know, let's say, for the COVID, they had a lot of people had those signs out for pedestrians. You know, it says curbside pickup, but they don't have the signs out for walking for pedestrians. So for a lot of people who are wheelchair bound, it's kind of impossible to get around without those, you know, amenities.
Is this within the Walmart?
No, it's not just Walmart, but
No,
I'm saying.
I'm just asking because it could be other, I'm trying to figure out.
They have also at the Sam's Club too, when you going past the Sam's Club, they don't have a walking for pedestrian, like there's no,
Are you talking about within the parking lot?
yes, they
Okay.
usually they have a sign out, it says stop, walking for pedestrians.
Okay, what you need to do is address that with Sam's, because some of that's private as well. Now, when you get outside the right-of-ways in the streets, like I said, when you talk to Anthony, our transportation person, they'll assist you, and so you could get a better understanding of what belongs to us and what belongs to other folks. Okay.
So what about the ponds here? You know, the ponds, they are kind of, the water, they need to put a filter in it. You know how they have the
The retention ponds?
The stormwater ponds.
So that's going to go with the business that they're attached to. So that was part of their development and the maintenance. So if there is an issue particularly, then you want to go with the business that it's at. So
They have one in one of the plazas near the shopping center, and they have another one right here, near the postal office right here. So there's a few of them that needs to be, you know, like, you know, they take a net, you know, you take a net and, you know, because there's a lot of pollen, you know, it's pollinated and a lot of algae out there. So they take a net through it once or twice, you know, kind of clean some of it up.
yeah, between the business, we do have our stormwater director, supervisor is Pat Brandenburg. And she would be able to tell you exactly too, like options available when it comes to, if you see anything that impacts, because especially, good point though, now that we are in grass cutting season, anyone that is cutting grass, one of the things you definitely cannot do is put your grass clippings in the road or let it go down the storm drain. So if you are seeing your neighbors do such, you know, give them a nice little reminder that that does impact the stormwater. And if you've hired somebody to cut grass and they are just out there blowing away, tell them not to, because that could be a violation for you as the owner or the resident.
Well, see, that happens a lot out where I live, because a lot of people are on contracts for people cutting their grass, and when I have the drain right by my driveway, but the thing about it is, when they blow their grass, they blow it right out in the street. I even seen it coming down on across from Jacksonville High School.
Yeah, and if you see it, one of the things that we have done before is if it is a particular company, you can call and report them. So that way code enforcement or Pat with her team will be able to monitor as well.
Yeah, but even
And just as we were talking about grass cutting, y'all did the perfect segue into our One City moment where we did our spring refresh. So we have concluded for the season right now, where our spring refresh was an opportunity for us to go and assist our elderly citizens or those that were unable to do lawn maintenance. And this particular day, we concentrated in the Georgetown community. So not only did we have volunteers from the city, we had New Beginnings Christian Center, we also had Georgetown Preservation Society come out. They were gracious enough to feed the volunteers as well for that day. And so we went through, remember, if you're doing yard work, that you are doing these bags and not the black trash bags. So make sure that you're putting them in the paper bags. Got Councilman Jackson out there working hard, maybe.
That's a prop. It's just a prop.
I don't see all those.
We have our young citizens was out there putting in work. We have our city manager, one of our newest assistant city managers, Anthony Prince, who's also the director of transportation. So he was out there working hard, cutting grass for us.
Lying to me.
Yeah, so between working hard and having fun, that was the mission for our spring refreshes. And even though we have concluded the season, if there is a citizen that does need assistance, still have them call Ms. LaShawn so she can take their name and address and information. So when and her phone number is 910-938-6546. So if there is another opportunity that becomes available, then she can go ahead and move forth with them when she opens the calendar back up. All right, and at this time, I'm going to turn over to Ms. Tracy.
Do you all have any future agenda topics that you want to see?
What do you
Yes.
guys do for Earth Day? What are you guys gonna do for Earth Day?
So Earth Day was celebrated with
What did you guys?
Sturgeon City.
Sturgeon. We had a program in Sturgeon City, and that was this past Saturday. So if you want to see any, all
I
of
was at the
the,
church this Saturday, the church downtown here, they had a baptism going on over here. So I was at this church near the downtown.
yeah, I was going to say, if you want to see all of our events, just go to our city website, just pull up all our monthly events, and it'll show you everything from Arbor Day to Earth Day to, we have a, yes. We have a festival coming up, the Jamboree,
I
so
just saw that one on their website.
Yes, so-
That one.
just go into it and see everything that we have, to offer when it comes to events. There's always something to do here in Jacksonville. Okay. Any future agenda topics from the,
One, I have to have that link from you I asked you for when we was working.
yes,
Where
ma'am.
this man got all these ladders on his truck sitting on our street.
So I'm going to, because usually if I email it to you, but you don't have an email, so
Email it.
I need to write it down for you.
I'm gonna take it today because I
Okay.
took a picture of it.
Okay, so I'm gonna write it down for you so that you'll be able to access the
Who
link.
do I call for this? This is Prince, or you said one of those 5 cars at the corner of Cardinal Drive.
Are you
One
saying?
house has 5 cars parked all on the street, all of them. I think they're keeping cars for the guys on base.
So the cars on the street goes to police officers, goes
Okay.
to the police.
Call out there.
Cars in the yard goes to code enforcement, okay?
It's not in the yard. That thing is parked on the
Okay,
street
well,
with the
then
ladder.
you would need to call the police.
His will be code enforcement? The
No,
one with the ladders?
yes, the
Okay.
one with the ladders.
It's a
is-
real big, like half of a semi truck with
Okay.
ladders on it. No red flag on it. At night, you can't see anything. And you
Okay.
gotta put on blocks at night.
I'll give you that link. Anything else?
I need it.
Anything else you want to see on here? And we picked back up on although I don't know, with everything going on, you're trying to wait for it, our visitations to various other places,
Right.
other communities. And thought that was very, very good. I really enjoyed that. And just get a chance to see what other communities are doing of comparable size to us. And give you ideas about what might be possible, and things like that. So, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head, other than, like you said, to make sure people are not pushing that yard refuse down into the sewers, because they're thinking that it goes to Never Land, and it doesn't. It goes down there and gets stuck and turns into whatever, and before you know it. And the one thing about our organization was they went down in there and cleaned it all out, And it does make a huge difference, because while we had flooding, crazy flooding down here in downtown Jacksonville, with the deer
Right.
splashing their way across the
Makes a
road.
difference.
Our streets down here, across from Bayshore in that area, were wet, but there was no water, no standing water, because the water was not backing up, it was going down. And people do forget, who come from other places to come here, that we are
Switch over.
at or slightly below sea level.
And that's what I was asking today. I noticed that I went to go visit the river here, and I say, well, usually when I come through, I also go to the beach, the Atlantic, the Fort Macon Beach here. And when I'm going to Swansboro, going out towards the ocean, I always ask, what is the water level? Like, I always ask, what is the tides? Have the tides come in? How high is the water come in? So just now, my first time going by the river here again. And when I got to the river, I saw the sign that says, don't feed the alligators. Well, I actually met the alligator today for the first time. But the alligator's only 5 years old. You can tell by the size of it. But I'd also asked about why they didn't have a sign out, because usually when you go to certain places, if they have a lake or a river, there's a billboard or a board that tells you about what's inside of the lake, what to expect, what species that are in, what type of fish. I think that should have been listed on
It would be so, I can't speak for anybody else, but I would think it would be so hard here because people don't have any, I know I didn't have really no appreciation for how many waterways there are between the creeks, the rivers, the bay. There are, dozens?
Yes, we don't have
a lot of water.
Yes.
now.
Yeah, we don't have lakes. We just have the New River, which it empties out into the ocean, so there's no telling.
What's in
In the Atlantic
You guys
Ocean.
usually have a lot of dams here, because when we were kids growing up, they used to have a lot of ditches. You guys used to have a lot of ditches.
I will say this.
They've been kind of dried out, and either they put what they call it,
Over.
they built a crossover,
back,
a
they
bridge
put that
over
big
the dams that they used to have. They used to have a lot of ditches. You guys used to have a lot of ditches.
Right.
And so now they put a way to walk
Like
over.
a little bridge to go walk over those.
Yeah.
Put those towers underneath so the water could run through, and then you put them.
One thing I will bring up, Tracy, is that we have an issue with people throwing stuff into the ditches in between
They
the houses. So I think that's something that, code enforcement, I think I talked
That's what I
to
saw too.
the assistant city manager Blackman about that, because we're probably gonna have to look at who the neighbors are around them and start assessing, fines for that, because they are creating issues with the flow of our water as well. So
Yeah, see,
I
if
think
the
that's a
water
good
is supposed to
opportunity.
flow, if you do something to take care of what you think is yours, you're creating issues for your neighbors.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
the water will back up and come into their yards, possibly the first level of the house. And because we have some areas there where people have cemented it closed, and it's just horrendous, because the water has to go somewhere. And it will always seek its lowest level. And so when you come here, like I said, particularly for people who are not from here, because I'm not from here, had to learn a whole lot in living here and being here about just water flow and just those kinds of things, because I grew up by one of the Great Lakes, but that's quite a different story from having creeks and so forth, that when we have a hard rain, it doesn't take long for that thing to overflow the banks, because it just has nowhere to go. It's too tiny, to go anywhere. And, educating people about where they're coming to, or where they're buying into before they take on.
And one thing I want to say, again, hats off to you guys, the staff, because you have a small staff, but you get a lot of things done in between. The affordable housing initiatives, you're actually getting rid of slum and blight, and doing what you're doing in the communities, and it's incredible what you're doing. But we're also getting other people in the community to be involved, and that's what we need going forward in this community anyway. We're going to need each other a lot more going forward than we have in the past. I was wondering, was there any other things you were thinking about, Tracy, in terms of?
I had one too.
As far as affordable housing,
Or
Well, you know,
initiatives?
as soon as we can completely develop and submit our annual action plan to council, of course, our housing initiatives, they will show that the community says, we need to focus on affordable housing. So that's what we're going to be focusing our HUD dollars that we get, our CDBG dollars that we get, is going to be focused in developing affordable housing and assisting with getting affordable housing here in the city of Jacksonville. So as I was sharing with someone, we have on the horizon some 12 units of supportive housing that ECCDI is developing on their property at Phoenix Apartments. We also have partnership with stateside developers that's building a 72 unit with council support.
The state side in the county?
No, it's over there in the Commons.
Oh, okay, that's
So it's gonna be
state side.
built in the county, in the Commons.
Rosestown Road.
Yes, ma'am.
Question. I noticed that they, when you're coming into, when riding the bus, public transportation, the old New River apartments, I've noticed that you guys are now doing remodeling. Are you guys gonna remodel all those apartments or just the one?
It's not just,
That's a private,
That's a private enterprise.
private group that's doing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not the city, it's a private owner for that. And so Eden, we could talk a little bit more, and you could talk about kind of what's going on as well. I'll talk after.
So we're doing that. We partner with these developers, for-profit, nonprofit developers, and of course developing multifamily and apartments. Especially happy to see that we finally get our first transitional housing project off. And we're looking forward to seeing that come to fruition as well. And of course, we do our scattered site developments, which is infill construction. We're going to be bringing some more houses in the Court Street area. We have some lots down there that we still going to be developing some affordable housing. So we're excited that we're moving forward. And our next big project, of course, is to focus on our rehab initiative so that we can get some help for our seniors and for any of our other low-income people who qualify for some repairs to be made in their homes. And we're looking forward to partnering with other organizations such as WARM to help us with that initiative as well.
I got one quick question. I remember some years ago, and it probably still exists, an organization of council and possibly mayors of a multi-county area. In other words, regional organizations that don't focus on city of Jacksonville or Onslow County, but focus on eastern North Carolina or northeastern. And the reason I bring it up is because I had an article came across my phone and I said, it was shocking, and yet I don't think people really are clear on this, that how many people are working full-time and they're homeless. They are living out of a car, they're living on somebody's couch or whatever. And they get up and they go to work 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And I would venture to say that there are probably some people who are working out of this building who are, if not at that point, they're close to it. Very, very close to it. Because I've heard about rentals where people have gone up on rent hundreds of dollars a month, and yet wages are stable, are frozen if you got a job. And you literally have, because I know a few months ago, we had cars in New River. And I could tell that people were living in the car.
Still.
I mean, it was clear. But then I saw the police patrolling, and my response to that was, I might be wrong, but I didn't see why you needed to report that if we have nothing to do to accommodate that. Because it's
Where they gonna go?
where are people going to go? And you got children.
We're going to have to figure it out. I know because you're dealing with different legislation now that you can actually possibly deal with people being incarcerated for being homeless. It's a lot of things
Yeah,
happening
it's a lot of
that we're going to have to look at as not just leaders, but as community.
As community.
But that's how we have to come together, and that's the thing is, and one thing this body is about is helping find solutions, you know?
Yes.
So, and that's one thing we have to look at going forward. I was just wondering, was there anything else that you could think of?
Nope, that's it.
Put down trash cans for the new ones that are coming in because they're sitting all on the side of the street blowing over. And it's windy now and hurricane tornadoes coming and everything. We don't want people getting hurt with all those big trash cans because I saw a lot of them laying down on the street.
I have a question.
Even on Henderson Extension where the businesses are, they don't take them in.
Yes, but the public is reminded as you get your trash empty,
Yeah.
you
Take it
are
in.
required to take your
They don't.
your bin back to
Right.
Are those
your house
recycling bins?
and not leave recycle and trash.
Both of them.
Recycling and
And your
You have
trash.
both recycling?
Because I got one now, it's been out there, they left Thursday. It's still sitting outside, it'll be out there until this coming Thursday. And it's 4 people living in that house,
Well, that's-
4 adults.
That's a code enforcement issue.
That's it.
Yes.
I hate to be,
Well, we have some, if you look on the back of your agenda, there's some key dates that we have coming up. I think we talked about most of them. City Hall is going to be closed on May 26th. Our next meeting for here is in June because we meet every other month for this particular organization. And June 23rd.
August the 25th.
So your list of your next meeting days are on here. The money management, as I said before, anybody who's thinking about that or just has questions, it's a very, very good workshop to go to. I encourage people to attend that. And bring your teenagers. I mean, the earlier you get people to thinking about what the best way, a better way to handle money than currently, that maybe we can start some effort toward not having some of the social problems we have because of just not knowing how to use the resources you do have.
It'll be an opportunity to break generational poverty.
Yes.
right.
And to build generational wealth. So I wholeheartedly believe that the young people need to start early when it comes to managing their money. The young lady had another question.
Yeah, I want to know, what do you guys do for June 19th, or do you guys celebrate it here?
We have, yes, City Hall
So
is
you go
closed
to the
on
city
June.
website.
Yes.
You will see that they have several opportunities to
Events going
celebrate
on.
Juneteenth.
We got a show at Georgeport.
There'll be some things going on around the community. City Hall will be closed on that day, since it is a federal holiday.
Showtime production.
Well, I think that we are at the end of our allotted time, so any other burning questions? It's good discussion because it just brings up things that we need to be thinking about, talking about, and one thing I thought about quickly was, and I don't know whether it's a city or the county, I signed up years ago for the alert,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, CTY.
And if anybody's listening who's watching
Me
this,
too.
if you're not on that system and you live in Jacksonville, you need to be on it because I see people who seem to, like if they change when they're gonna collect garbage.
Right, they don't know.
I'll get a text, I'll get an email, and I get a phone call.
You get a call.
But there are people who don't get anything because they're not tied into that alert system. It's excellent, you know, you get on there, you'll get either 3 notices, 2 notices, or 1, but you won't get none if you're tied in. And it's important that you need to be knowing about what's coming up. If we had something happen,
Even
where we
there's a
had to be
severe storm coming
evacuation.
up, they'll let you know.
Absolutely, and it's a good sign. So I thought about the other day because I was driving around and I said, they're taking up garbage on Wednesday because of Easter
The holidays,
weekend.
they changed
And I didn't see hardly anybody's cans out, and I said, I bet you they didn't notice. You know?
They didn't.
And they put it out on Thursday and wondered
And
why
then
it
they
didn't
sit
get
out there
picked
and it
up.
blows all in the street.
Well, then, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. So we are adjourned until June 23rd, 2025 for this regular meeting. And those of us who are on the subcommittee, don't forget that we have a
At when?
meeting on the second Wednesday at 10 a.m. for the subcommittee
Okay.
that meets for this group as well. So I appreciate you all coming out. We did have a quorum, so we had an official meeting, so that was good.
I was on my way.
Thank you so much for coming.
We thank you for coming out.
Trying to get that one over there for her.